Good morning and welcome to the 2020 Clinical Immunology Society Business Meeting. The meeting is being presented virtually from Milwaukee and Seattle. My name is Ann Krolikowski and I'm the Executive Director of CIS. Thank you for taking the time to participate today. In a moment, CIS President Dr. Troy Torgerson will provide a report on the state of the Society. The meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the CIS website. If you have any questions, please use the chat function on the left-hand side of your screen. It is my pleasure to introduce the CIS 2019-2021 President, Dr. Troy Torgerson.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Ann, for that introduction. And good morning, everyone. I'm sorry that we have to meet this way and not in person, but glad that we have this technology at least to allow us to connect related to the business of the CIS, and for me to have a chance to give you sort of our yearly update on how the society is doing and on the general health of things, and on the many fronts that we're trying to work to move forward and advocate both for those of you who are members of the society and also for our patients that of course we are trying to serve in the very best way that we can. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning, and hopefully there will be some items here that will be useful to take away. So let me get started. Start off by just reminding you of the mission of the CIS, because this really is the thing that underpins everything that we do. We really see our mission as threefold. We really have three groups that we are dedicated to serving. Of course, there is a clinical mission that we have in trying to sustain those of you who are involved in clinical work related to immune-mediated diseases. And we do that through education, mentoring, networking, the annual meeting, etc. We also strive to support the research that many of you are doing related to this field, and to push the envelope and move the frontier forward in this area of immune-mediated diseases. And we want to support that through both advocacy and through providing research support where we can, particularly focused on early career investigators. And that's part of the mission of our CIS Foundation, as we'll talk about a little bit later. And then we have, of course, a commitment to our patients to provide the very best care for our patients and the very best and up-to-date standard of care for our patients with immunodeficiency and immune dysregulation disorders. And we're working on several fronts to try and do that we'll talk about as well. The CIS Council, in an effort to try and support this threefold mission, has developed 6 strategic initiatives for the next 5 years, focused on these 6 pillars of advocacy, education, membership, partnership, communication, and innovation. And we'll talk about everything that I'm going to talk about in the webinar now going forward will relate to one of these pillars of our 6 pillars of the strategic initiative. So let me start with the partnership portion of this, because this is an area where we've felt it's very important to partner with our colleagues from around the world who are doing similar work. And we've done this in a variety of ways. One of those is through IAPIDS. Many of you are familiar with IAPIDS. The website is here if you're not. IAPIDS is an organization that was set up, it's really an alliance that was set up to bring together the efforts and collaboration of the most of the major immunodeficiency, immune dysregulation associated societies from around the world. So there's 5 societies involved in IAPIDs: CIS, APSID, the Asian Pacific Society, the African Society for Immunodeficiencies, the European Society for Immunodeficiencies, and the Latin American Society for Immunodeficiencies. And this has really been a terrific partnership to get started. And one of the things that has grown out of this partnership has been the first IAPIDS summer school, or I should say probably winter school, because it was just recently held, and was focused on individuals who are really early in their careers. And some of you may have had the opportunity to participate in that school. And it was, I think, a tremendous success. And I would just acknowledge from the CIS, Sergio Rosenzweig, who a member of the council who coordinated that from our side, but also participated in the faculty there, along with other members of the CIS. And it was a tremendous success, and we look forward to being able to do that again. The hope is that IAPID school will occur every other year, hopefully going forward, and we'll continue to work with the other IAPID societies on that and other initiatives. We also have productive partnerships with many other organizations related to immune deficiency. And we particularly want to acknowledge the participation with our patient organizations, that the Jeffrey Modell Foundation, the IDF, and now a number of disease-specific patient organizations that have worked with us in varying capacities. And we're grateful for those connections and for the ability to partner with these patient advocacy organizations that play such an important role in supporting our patients. We've had, in addition to those connections, some very productive webinars with, for instance, the ICID that's focused on autoinflammatory disorders. We've had, of course, sponsored meetings at Quad AI and the college, and we're grateful for these ongoing partnerships and ability to collaborate on educational and research initiatives, and want to acknowledge the many organizations that have partnered with us, and we will continue to foster those partnerships going forward. We are always looking for opportunities to partner, and if any of you have ideas for how we can do this better, please reach out to me or to the CIS office with those ideas, because we are going to be more successful as we work together to advocate for our patients. I want to move over and now begin to talk about the educational initiatives that we have going within CIS. One of the new educational activities that we started a couple of years ago was the CIS Diagnostic School. It was patterned somewhat on the long-standing CIS Summer School in primary immunodeficiencies. But the diagnostic school is really focused on diagnostic approaches to primary immunodeficiency diseases. For those of you who may have attended the summer school in the past, as you know, the summer school is really focused around the many cases that the attendees submit, and that case-based learning is the way that the summer school has functioned since its initiation. We take a similar approach at the diagnostic school, but instead of sort of starting necessarily with the clinical picture of the patient, we start with the diagnostic testing parts of the workup of patients. And then move through those cases as models for and the platform for doing the teaching. And for those of you who may have had a chance to attend the diagnostic school, I think you will join with me in just recognizing how what a valuable opportunity that was, and really recognizing Roshni Abraham and Rebecca Marsh, who initiated this and have led this. Our second school was held in July of 2019 in Boston. And we had attendees from all over the world at that school. It was so successful that there was a call for us to do it again. And so a third school was planned and was to be held this summer in July. And in fact, we had more applicants than we've had so far. Had 101 applicants for 30 slots at the school. The attendees were selected for the school, but just yesterday, after a meeting of the CIS Council, we've made the decision on the recommendation of the council to postpone this year's summer school, diagnostic summer school, to for a year. So we will not be holding a diagnostic school this year. It will be postponed to 2021. The applicants who've been accepted to the diagnostic school will still be accepted and will be invited to and asked to attend the 2021 diagnostic school. Obviously, if there are conflicts and they're not able to do that, then we will we'll find alternative applicants for those slots. But we just felt that at this sort of uncertain time, the best course of action would be to postpone the school and to hopefully be able to do this next year when we're in a little better situation and feel more comfortable about people being able to travel safely and being able to come from all parts of the world to participate in this school. So we look forward to being able to do this a little over a year from now. I just wanted to recognize the diagnostic school faculty. Again, Roshni and Rebecca for chairing that. They're chairing it again this year. For the coming year, we will plan to hold the postponed meeting in 2021 in Boston as it was planned this year. And I just want to recognize Janet Chow and Craig Platt, who've played an important role, sort of the local hands on the ground for helping to organize all of the local activities related to that meeting. And you see the faculty of the diagnostic school here. There are some other new educational activities that have been initiated by the education and advocacy committees. And some of you are aware of these. Some of these are not yet completed. So the Education Committee has been working on some case-based video modules, working with a partner by the name of SEI Healthcare and supported by Takeda to pilot some case-based modules on physician-patient shared decision-making. And the Education Committee, chaired by Nick Ryder, is working on this project, and we look forward to seeing that coming to completion in the next several months. Many of you are aware of the video project that was initiated in partnership with Horizon and focused on chronic granulomatous disease. And many of you have seen the videos that are up on the CIS website associated with this, and many of you had the opportunity to participate in those videos that are meant to be educational and provide more information about CGD. And we are grateful for that resource and support, and look forward to being able to expand more on these sorts of educational resources to make those available as ongoing resources for members of the society. We also have the CIS webinars, and I want to recognize the efforts of our early career immunology group that's chaired by Kelly Williams. The ECI group has been very active and has really done a tremendous job with the webinars. The webinars have been fantastic, are well attended, and many of you have participated in those. The cases are very good, and we just want to, we plan to continue those. We feel this has really been a valuable resource, and are looking for ways to sort of extend the reach of these webinars. We've been in discussions with Sean Laron and Vinny Bonagura related to ways that we might be able to even get some patient-based, case-based studies published in JOCI around some of the cases presented in the webinars, and it's an ongoing area where we're hoping to be able to continue to work together to just expand the reach of these excellent cases that are presented in the webinars. During the webinars, the ECI committee has also brought back the journal article review and has modified that a little bit, and they're presenting that in the last 5 minutes of the webinar. For those of you who've been participating, you've heard those, and that's been a great re-addition to the webinar, and look forward to those continuing. We also have the list servers that many of you participate in. There's the general list serve for just questions related to patients and other questions related to PID and immune dysregulation. And of course, as many of you know, in an effort to try and provide some resources around the challenge that we all face with variants of unknown significance as we send genetic testing. About a year and a half ago, we started what we call the WCIS list server. Hopefully, those of you who subscribe to the general CIS PIDD list serve also subscribe to the WCIS. The WCIS is really focused, the idea there is that you submit interesting cases in which you have obtained a variant of unknown significance that you're not quite sure what to do with. And we started this so that we could begin to sort of compile these variants of unknown significance on one list server, and so that you can get specific feedback related to these variants. And we've seen some interesting cases come through the WCIS, and if you're not a part of that, would encourage you to subscribe and to utilize that as an opportunity to submit those interesting questions around specific variants that come up. Sometimes those variants are not listed in general databases like ClinVar or other places, but some of your colleagues have run across the same variants and may have information about functional testing that could be valuable in taking care of your own patients. And so that's a valuable list server. There's also a CIS Fit list server for the fellows. Not quite as many email exchanges going through the fellows list serve, but that is available, and we encourage those of you who may be fellows or who may be mentoring fellows to make them aware that this is an opportunity to connect with fellows from throughout the society. We also want to recognize the Women in Clinical Immunology Sciences WCIS committee within CIS. This is a relatively new committee that was formed just a few years ago under the direction of Dr. Victoria Dimitriadis and Dr. Alexander Freeman. For those of you who may have attended last year's CIS meeting, there was a tremendous and very well attended seminar given and a great discussion related to challenges that many face in their careers, and we the WCIS had planned for this year's meeting in Denver a really wonderful speaker to speak on some additional career challenges, and unfortunately that won't take place, but they're beginning already to work on the program for next year's meeting in St. Louis. And we are grateful for this for this contribution to the meeting, and this has really been a tremendous addition. Many of you have had the opportunity to take advantage of the learning and mentorship opportunities that the WCIS has brought forward. And so I want to recognize their efforts. Look forward to the program that they will have next year. We also are focusing in an effort to support those of you working on the clinical side. We have a diagnostic laboratory immunology committee, and we want to recognize Vijaya Knight, who's the chair of this committee. And the focus of the DLI committee is to both provide resources around where immunologic testing can be done, and to focus on areas of quality related to immune deficiency testing, and testing specifically related to our patients. And we, as many of you know, have faced these challenges clinically. Sometimes it's not easy to get access to some of the disease-specific tests because they're only run in specific places. So the DLI committee has created a reference laboratory test catalog that's available on the CIS website that details labs where you can send phenotyping, functional testing, antibody and biomarker tests. That is updated every 1 to 2 years, and is being updated again now. So would just remind you and encourage you to use that resource because it is available on the CIS website and can help in trying to find labs who may be able to do testing that you're interested in. The DLI committee has also done a couple of surveys in the past couple of years. One of those focused on genetic testing, another focused on SCID newborn screening. Excuse me. The results of the genetic testing survey have been collected and are being prepared for a short publication. Also, as I said, a survey was performed related to SCID newborn screening follow-up, and a manuscript has been prepared and was initially submitted under the direction of Vijaya, Jen Heimal, Nikki Wright, and Roshni Abraham. And that manuscript is being revised to be resubmitted. So the DLI committee will continue to focus on these areas of access and quality in immunodeficiency and immune dysregulation testing going forward. One of the things that I failed to mention is that as I go through these committees, I would just encourage those of you who may be interested in becoming involved with one of these committees, please make a note of the committees that you're interested in, and contact the CIS office with your interest. And we are eager to involve anyone who has a desire to become involved in any of these committees, and would encourage your involvement and welcome that. Further, in supporting the career development of members of the society, and both fellows and early career members of the society in particular, the CIS has a mentorship program that was launched in 2018. The goal of this program is to pair interested mentees with a more seasoned mentor who may be able to provide both career advice, maybe advice around publications, around particular areas in science if there's particular interests, and At the moment, we have 12 mentor-mentee pairs. The mentees are CIS members who are also ECI or fellows in training within the first 5 years of their appointment, and want to have some sort of mentoring. The mentors are full-time members of CIS, or full members of CIS with 10 or more years in a faculty position, so a little bit more expertise to provide mentorship and guidance. And at the moment, we have 12 mentor-mentee pairs. For those of you who may be interested in becoming a mentor, there are certainly opportunities there, and we would welcome you to contact the CIS office, and we'll be happy to get you listed as one of the mentors. Similarly, for those of you who are early in your careers and would be interested in being paired with a mentor, we would encourage you to contact the CIS office, and there's also information available on the website, and they will be happy to give you a list of available mentors, and we will be happy to pair you with a mentor, and we will continue to support this program going forward. Last year at our meeting, we had a mentor-mentee reception where the mentors and mentees could get together, and it turned out to be just an excellent networking opportunity, and many of you had the opportunity to attend that. I want to give you an update on the CIS Foundation. The foundation was created to support and provide educational opportunities for fellows and junior faculty members. Our funding goal is to raise $1 million, and before we begin dispersing funds. That's what it will require for us to sort of provide a stable backbone to be able to give funds for travel grants, junior faculty awards, bridge grants, those sorts of funding opportunities. The seed for this was a $100,000 pledge by CIS, and many of you had the opportunity to attend the talent show at last year's CIS meeting, and we had a great talent show planned for this year. Of course, the talent show is one of the many areas that the CIS Foundation is working to try and add to our fundraising so that we can provide these educational resources and support research, particularly focused on early career investigators who are interested in primary immunodeficiency and immune dysregulation. I want to recognize the members of the CIS Council. So President-elect is Sergio Rosenzweig. Sergio will become the president at next year's 2021 meeting. I want to recognize Roshni Abraham, the past president, and Dan Edelman, who works very hard to keep us on sound financial footing with the members of our CIS office staff. I want to recognize Ellie Haddad, Rebecca Marsh, and Alexander Freeman, who are counselors, elected counselors on the Councilor, the editors for the journal, and our website editor, Soma Jainucci. Just want to give you an update on the financial status of CIS. So our total net assets are about $2 million. The total expenses of this past year were just over $1 million, about almost $1.2 million, and with an income of about $1.2 million. And we do have to provide just ongoing backbone for the many things that we've talked about that we're doing. We have investments that allow us to sustain the health of the society, and this has allowed us to remain vibrant and able to offer these many educational and mentoring opportunities and advocacy opportunities that the CIS works on. The membership committee plays a critical role in sustaining our membership and in helping us to figure out how to both interest new members and retain members who of the society, and to keep them engaged and involved, and want to recognize Megan Cooper and the members of the membership committee who've participated in that. I'm not going to list everybody off, but I want to thank all of the members of the membership committee who've participated. Also, Lots of new members of CIS over this last year, and want to just, if you're a new member, you'll see your name on this list, and want to recognize you and welcome you to the society. If some of you are rejoining, and we're just incredibly glad to have you all as part of this really vibrant society, and look forward to continuing to work with you. Want to recognize the fellows who are members of this, have been fellow members of society, have completed their training this last year, and congratulations and best of luck to you as you embark on your careers now. And we look forward to having you be continued participants in CIS, and continue to be involved. I want to recognize the members of the other committees. We've talked about the chairs, but I want to recognize all of the members of the committees. And so here's our ECI committee that's been really vibrant, and chaired by Kelly Williams. Many members of the committee who've participated in the webinars and in the literature reviews associated with those webinars, and want to recognize and thank them for just providing a really vibrant early career input for our society, and we're thankful for that. Members of our advocacy committee chaired by Peter Mastillo, and recognize the other members of the advocacy committee. They have been involved in some publications that have already been published, and have ongoing advocacy work, as we talked about. They've got other things that they're working on now. DLI committee, again, chaired by Jan Knight. These are the members of the DLI committee. And our education committee chaired by Nick Ryder. I would just, again, recognize that there's plenty of blank space here for additional members to these committees, and would encourage you to become involved if you're interested. And our CME committee, Joyce Yu, who will be rotating off of the CME, out of the chair of the CME committee this year after 3 years, and want to recognize her involvement there. The CME committee primarily is focused on reviewing the CME for the annual meeting and the other programs, and then every few years we are reviewed by the CME accrediting body, and the CME committee is involved in preparing for that review and sometimes participating in that review, and we want to recognize them. Want to give a shout out to Vinny Bonagura and Jean-Laurent Casanova, who are the editors-in-chief of our journal of Clinical Immunology, that is now not just the official journal of CIS, but through our partnership with other societies, through IAPIDS and other societies, is now the journal. It's a partnership journal with all of the societies that you see now included on the cover of GOCI. 2018 impact factor was 4.128, and we are hopeful, and there are some early indicators. We won't know till summer, but we're hopeful and thinking that the impact factor will break the 5 mark this year, which is a tremendous benchmark for the journal, and has been one of the goals that Vinny and Jean-Laurent have had, is to get the impact factor above 5. And if in fact we do that this year, which it looks like we very well may, that is, we just want to recognize that tremendous achievement, and recognize their involvement in doing that. Also want to just give you the great news that Vinny and Jean-Laurent have signed on for another couple of years as the editors-in-chief of JOCI, and under their direction and leadership, the journal has really thrived, and look forward to some of the initiatives. Some of you have seen the initiatives that they've been working on. Jean-Laurent has recently begun some really wonderful articles on interviewing members of the society who have, and of the field, who have been involved in primary immunodeficiency for decades. And there have really some wonderful articles focused on those in the field who've sort of seen the evolution of the field over time. Some great stories there, and would encourage you to take a look at those, because those are really those are fun. They're just a tremendous fun read. This year's meeting, we had planned a pre-conference education day called Manage Like a Master, the pros and cons of targeted therapeutics. We were probably going to, since this year's meeting didn't happen, push this off, and this is probably what we'll do this coming year, but we're just organizing the annual meeting planning committee now, and we'll leave it up to them to figure out exactly how to push this forward. But it is likely that the pre-conference education day will move this topic forward, and that will be the case for the 2021 meeting in St. Louis. I want to just recognize all our many sponsors who make it possible for us to do what we do, and to meet and to have the opportunities to network and to carry on our educational programs. Without these sponsorships, we would not be able to do the advocacy and education work that we do. And I want to recognize all of these sponsors who've been so foundational to helping us do that. We had a great annual meeting planned this year. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to do it, but in the throes of all of this, it just we felt strongly it was not wise to try and proceed. And we look forward to our next annual meeting, which is in St. Louis next April. And hopeful that by then we will all be comfortable and safe, able to come together and meet and network and enjoy this meeting, and look forward to seeing all of you in St. Louis. At the moment, we are still planning to hold our regular summer school in October. It's far enough off that we're hoping by October everything will be settled down. Our last 2020 school in primary immunodeficiencies 2019 school in primary immunodeficiencies was held in Florida. It was very successful, and we're looking forward to this year being successful, assuming that we feel safe, that we can hold the meeting safely and get everybody there, and we can be together without the risks of coronavirus. Getting towards the end here, this year we wanted to recognize Jordan Orange as our 2020 Distinguished Service Award for the CIS. And Jordan, as many of you know, is a former president of CIS. Jordan has played many roles in CIS over the years, and has been involved in really initiating the IAPIDS Alliance, has been intimately involved in developing a new initiative in the society related to a fellowship within the Clinical Immunology Society, which you'll hear more about and will be coming online soon. A fellowship program where we will acknowledge members of the society for their expertise through becoming a fellow of the Clinical Immunology Society. And so Jordan has touched the field, and particularly the CIS in many different places, and over the years has contributed extensively to the society. And I want to recognize him this year with the Distinguished Service Award. He'll get his official plaque recognizing this. We'll award that at the 2021 meeting, but I did want to acknowledge Jordan and his contribution to the CIS. We also want to acknowledge Ellie Haddad, who has been an elected counselor sitting on the CIS council, and is rotating off the council this year, and want to recognize Ellie for his input. He's had tremendous contribution, lots of great suggestions, and wise and important input as we have moved forward with our programs. And I want to recognize our newly elected CIS counselor, Jen Himal, who will be joining us this next month as a member of the CIS Council, and look forward to Jen's input on the CIS Council. I also want to make you aware that This coming year will be the year in which we will elect the next president of CIS. So Sergio Rosenzweig, again, will take over for a 2-year term as president after at the 2021 meeting at the completion of my term. But we will this coming year be electing the new the follow-on president who will follow Sergio as the president after the end of his 2-year term. So watch for that to come around. And lastly, I want to recognize these 5 wonderful folks who have really keep us afloat. And so if it weren't for the hard work of this group of young women who are so dedicated to our society, we would be in much worse shape. And I want to thank them for their tremendous contributions. As you can imagine, this year with the cancellation of the annual meeting, there was a lot of kind of crazy turmoil going on, and these 5 managed it like pros and continue to manage the aftermath of that. They're still, as many of you know, working on getting meeting attendance fees and other things reimbursed, and I just want to recognize their input, which is just tremendous in all of the efforts that we've walked through. So with that, I'll conclude, and we'll be happy to take any questions. If there are any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will again, if you're interested in volunteering for any of the efforts that we've put forward, or in initiating new efforts, if you've got ideas for new efforts that the CIS might focus on, please contact us through the CIS website, or directly via email or by phone to the CIS offices. At the moment, everybody's on lockdown and working from home, but that hopefully will change in the not too distant future. In the meantime, stay safe, and best wishes, and please let us know how we can support you from this wonderful and vibrant society.
And Dr. Torgerson, I don't see any questions in the chat box. So if there isn't anything else, thank you for your participation today, everyone. And thank you, Dr. Torgerson, for your leadership through these extremely unprecedented times. Stay healthy and safe, everyone.
Thank you.